like it. Joining us right now to make sure you not only get in the playoffs, but win that trophy. From CBS Sports, the one, the only Dave Richard. Good morning.
It goes fast every year, doesn't it?
That's true.
I don't like it.
Yeah, but that's the way it is.
Weren't we just watching like the Hall of Fame game, being like, "Oh, this is stupid."
Josh Jacobs, what's he doing out there? Yeah, felt like it was like 3 weeks ago, something like that.
We were talking earlier about Derrick Henry, who just had another threw a touchdown pass, rush, did his thing, and all that. Like, I know that Cooper Kupp and Jonathan Taylor, they're kind of vying back and forth, maybe a third in there for number one, but. Why is Derrick Henry not? Shouldn't he be picked number one like every year until he's not?
He almost was my number one running back this year in non-PPR, and I couldn't get past how good of a talent Jonathan Taylor was, how much younger he was than Derrick Henry, and I still thought the Colts offensive line was going to be pretty good. Not as good as it was in 21, but still pretty good. And I also had Derrick Henry, I think he ended up being second or third for me in full PPR. Because he's that damn good. In the first 2 weeks of the year, Dave, you know this, it did not look pretty for him.
No.
So he's absolutely a league winner, absolutely a phenomenal talent. Here's the question. He's going to be close to 30 next year. He won't be 30. I think he's going to be 29, 28, 29. I don't know the exact age. But there are going to be people who will say, well, he can't possibly keep this up. And he's going to fall again in drafts. He will not be the number one running back on draft day next year. It might go to one of these rookie running backs. Who knows? It might even go to Saquon, maybe even Christian McCaffrey. People will go back and buy into him. He will represent another good first-round value next year because I don't think he's going to ever wear down. Think about it. Last year, he missed half the season with a broken foot, and he finished the game in which he broke the foot in, and then he came back to play in the playoffs. And then all offseason, all we did was saw him working out, lifting weights. Like he was doing, pull-ups with chains wrapped around him. Like he's an absolute cyborg of a human being. And I don't see it particularly slowing down. So next year, good value in the middle of the late of round one.
There you go. So we're talking with Dave Richard. All guests coming to you via the Folsom Lake Ford hotline. Folsom Lake Ford, your one-stop Honda shop. Dave, conversely, on the other side last night, Aaron Rodgers would have always been someone you would play, two-time MVP. But has he now become a guy that it's only a play in fantasy if your quarterback's injured or on a bye week?
I don't know if it's necessarily that low. We might have said that 2 games ago, and then Christian Watson exploded, and now everybody can kind of give him the pass for Aaron Rodgers, or give Rodgers a pass because he's got Watson. Here's what Watson does. Not only is he a deep threat and clearly now a red zone threat to help Aaron Rodgers out, he's also somebody that's going to stretch defenses and open up things underneath for Allen Lazard. He did it last night for Randall Cobb and for Aaron Jones. Lazard had 11 targets last night. Only 3 of them were on passes of 20-plus air yards. So he was catching a lot of short area throws. That's the impact that a speed receiver has on an offense. We've seen that happen over the course of football for decades. I think it's going to continue as long as Christian Watson's on the field. Played a ton last night. I expect that to continue. And that does give Aaron Rodgers some fantasy relevance to be a top 12 quarterback rest of season. So if you're streaming and you're bouncing from, maybe started the year with Russell Wilson and you've been bouncing around, if you've landed on Aaron Rodgers, you've got someone that you can count on for that 20 to 24 fantasy point per game average, which isn't bad this year because there's a lot of quarterbacks that are averaging right around 20 or 21 points per game.
Dave Richard with us. I want to get to questions here, and you can throw them in there, 916-339-1140, get in our YouTube chat as well. Just super quick question, though. So my wife is in a fantasy league with a couple of friends of ours, this couple we love to death, and their thing. And I refuse to be – tell me if I'm being oversensitive or not. I absolutely refuse to be in this league, because amongst other things receiving touchdowns are 6 points. It's fine. With no bonus there, no nothing. That's fine. 6 points, right? So quarterback touchdowns. Is that the dumbest thing you ever heard of, or am I being overly sensitive?
So all touchdowns are worth 6 points?
Yeah,
Dave?
yeah. If you're Brett Favre and you throw, if you're Tom Brady,
Favre.
yeah.
If you're Brett Favre and you steal millions
right,
of dollars,
you're in prison.
Is this a retro league?
Jeez, if you're Tom Brady, you throw 4 touchdowns, that's 24 points. Same as if Derrick Henry scores 4 touchdowns.
That's the standard scoring in CBS leagues, Dave. You've just insulted my entire company.
You give the same
Yeah,
points for,
Dave.
hold on a second. You give the same points if a quarterback throws
Yep.
throws a
What's the touchdown count for in the National Football League?
6 points.
But
thank you.
Hold on.
So then you just draft QBs higher.
I get it, but now
no, you don't. You actually do the opposite of that.
The thing is, you have, in a 12-man league, in most systems, that means you have 18 of the highest scoring players in the league sitting every week. Doesn't that come?
That's changing. So first of all, the argument that you're making is that quarterback touchdowns should be devalued because there are more of them.
Yes, correct.
You're probably in leagues where it's 4 points.
Yes.
For a passing touchdown,
correct.
Which actually benefits the running quarterbacks a lot. It fuels them up to be just elite fantasy options. Justin Fields, over the last few weeks, he's probably been the number 1 option, regardless of what your quarterback scoring is. But in those types of leagues, he's on fire. I think that it's just it doesn't. Our experience has been it doesn't really change how you view quarterbacks as a position, just because the scoring is 2 points more or less for a passing touchdown. It obviously it's going to impact the running quarterbacks, like I just said, and it might put a premium on them on draft day. But it's not necessarily something that makes you want to covet quarterbacks in 6 point per passing touchdown leagues or pass on quarterbacks in 4 point for passing touchdown leagues. People still value them the same way because you're only starting 1 quarterback. You're starting at least 2 of every other position. Some leagues, it's 3 wide receivers and a flex. That puts a priority on wide receiver. It's the old supply and demand rule, Dave, and we've seen that for since the stock market opened, and it applies to fantasy as well. When you've got too many of a certain position, it pushes down the value of them across the board, regardless of what the scoring is.
Well, like I said, Dave Richard, CBS Sports with CBS Sports Fantasy Football Leagues, the best scoring in the whole world. I agree.
That's right. Cleaned it up there.
It was awkward.
How about Monday night for the 49ers? There's so many fantasy choices. Who's ranked highest on your Niner list this week?
Well, there's this guy named Christian McCaffrey that they traded for. He's probably going to be up there. I think the next best guy is going to be Brandon Ayuk. I almost said Debo, and that would have been just me, being old school. But you just have to look at what Ayuk's done, especially lately with Garoppolo on the field. And he should have had a touchdown last week, dropped it in the end zone. Could see him making amends for that. This is an interesting Arizona Cardinals defense. They're very good at keeping wide receivers from beating them deep downfield, but they are among the worst against wide receivers on passes inside of 15 air yards. So we're talking about those short and intermediate throws. They allow a ton of yards per catch. They allow a huge catch rate, and they've allowed 16 touchdowns to wide receivers catching the football inside of 15 yards. It is going to be a generous game for Brandon Ayuk. I think there's a chance for Debo to do well. And you've got to start these guys as at least number 2 wide receivers, if not number 1 guys. And then I think that George Kittle, you know what he is, you know what his upside is. He's also a must start. Here's a sneaky one for you. If the 49ers are able to pull away in this game, and it's another fourth quarter like it was last week, Elijah Mitchell's going to get some run. And Kyle Shanahan's going to use multiple running backs. He's been doing that his entire career. Now he's doing it with 2 really good running backs. One of the best in the league in McCaffrey, and another one that when he's healthy, Elijah Mitchell, a perfect fit for his offense.
Dave Richard with us. I was going to ask you about Elijah Mitchell. You just answered that. What about Montgomery with the Bears with Khalil Herbert and that issue? Is he, I know he's more valuable than he was 2 weeks ago, but where do you have him?
He is a number 2 fantasy running back. He is someone that you should expect to get around 15 touches. He was still seeing a lot of the passing downs work and the goal line work with Khalil Herbert on the field. Now he's going to see it all. The other running back that they will use is a guy named Treston Ebner. not to be confused with famous WWF referees Dave and Earl Hebner. Those twins cost Hogan the title. Those punks.
I hate them.
Ebner is an interesting stash candidate for at least the next game or two, just to see what happens with Montgomery. Montgomery hasn't necessarily been an efficient running back, but one who gets a lot of high-value touches. And that Falcons defense is not good against the run. They're not good against the pass. I have a sneaking suspicion that the Bears want to take some pressure off of Justin Fields in their game on Sunday. The first best way to do that, and maybe the only way to do that, is to get their run game going. They'll have the chance to do that with Montgomery.
We are out of time. I want to get a chance to plug everywhere you're going to be, but this is a great question from the text line I got to ask you. So real quick, the 49ers are playing at an elevation with the Cardinals this weekend that's significantly higher than Denver. Do you factor that in at all when ranking players in that game?
It should factor in with the kickers because they can make longer kicks. And when it comes to the deep pass, I think that's a factor there as well because the ball will travel faster in the thinner air. I'm just not sure how much the 49ers will have to or want to take advantage of that.
Jimmy Garoppolo, come on, what's going to go 20 yards instead of 15? Where can people see, hear you, and love your awesome analysis?
Bellas, we're previewing every game. We're giving a player prop with every game, a DFS pick with every game, starting at 9 a.m. on CBSSports.com. Anything that's got a Wi-Fi connection can watch this show for free. It's an hour long, kicks off at 9 a.m. Cali time. We'll tell you who to start and sit to help you win in week number 11.
If it's free, it's me. That's Dave Richard, CBS Sports, killing it as always. Appreciate you, my man. We'll talk to you in a week.
Derrick Henry will be 29 years old next year.
Wow, that's just so old for football, right?
Yes, it is.
Yeah, for running backs.
Take care, brother.
See ya.
That's Dave Richard.